So, welcome to the Tesla Bootcamp program. Everything you want to know about your Tesla, but we're afraid to ask. This is the first part of it. The Tesla ABCs, new owner orientation for the Model 3 and the Model Y. You guys saw the video okay, right? All right, so this is the world of Tesla. I don't know where the supercharger is, but I would really like to be there. What we're going to be covering tonight is really the ABCs. And the ABCs really stand for autopilot, basic operation, and charging. Now, we don't do full self-driving here. That we're going to do on the class that I told you guys about on Wednesday. But we will cover all the standard autopilot features that everybody gets with their car. We're going to talk about all the basic operations in the car, and we'll talk about charging. And that usually, we've all been driving, ICE vehicles for a number of years. So those are the things that really differentiate these cars from what we're used to. So we kind of try to focus on those areas. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the basic operation. And I will tell you initially that some of these screens will be dated. All the same information is going to be there. However, it may be in a slightly different place. For instance, if we look at the photo that's up there right now, you notice you see the Tesla T on the screen right here. That's gone on the new UI. And quite frankly, in about, I would say less than 4 weeks, all this is going to be different again anyway, because the whole user interface is going to be completely redone when version 11 gets released. So again, while what we're going to cover is always going to be somewhere in there, it's always possible that it's going to be in a different place. So the first thing to deal with is something that as guys, we never like to deal with. We need to deal with an owner's manual. And while I have no doubt that you guys have bought lots of cars in your life and never looked at the owner's manual or just briefly glanced at it. With a Tesla, I strongly encourage you to go through your owner's manual. It's available online. It's available in your car. This is a computer on wheels. And even if you're just driving the car and you're doing fine doing that, there's going to be a lot of features you may not be taking advantage of because you don't even know they exist. So the owner's manual becomes kind of important here.
Welcome to your Tesla. Congratulations. You now drive one of the safest, most advanced, and most fun cars on the planet. Thank you for your part in accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Sure, your Tesla is an ever-improving supercomputer on wheels, but it's really easy to use. First, you should know that there's an on-screen owner's manual that contains everything there is to know about your car and how to use it. If you ever have a question or want to learn something new, simply pull up the owner's manual on the touchscreen. Tap the Tesla T centered at the very top of the screen. This brings up information about your car.
That's the T that doesn't exist
manual
anymore.
Within this window, and then navigate to a topic. To close this or any other window, tap the X in the upper corner, or simply tap outside of the window. Tesla owner's manuals are available online too, so you can check them out anytime. Just search for them.
Okay, so that was the T I was telling you guys about that doesn't exist anymore. Instead, at the bottom left of the screen is a little car. And if you tap on the car, that brings up your main submenu, and then you can get to the owner's manual in there. But they, for some reason, decided that T was going to go away.
The steering wheel controls can do much more than adjusting your driving position. Spin the left scroll wheel to adjust the volume of media or a phone call. Press this control in to pause, play, mute, or unmute audio. Push it right or left to skip between tracks or radio stations. The right scroll wheel is primarily for cruise control. We'll cover that in more detail soon. Pressing in this control initiates a voice command. You can ask your car to do just about anything, and it's constantly learning new commands. Press, release, and then say a command once you hear it chime.
Navigate to Tesla headquarters. Show the backup camera.
You can also tap here on the touchscreen for voice commands.
Play Rocket Man by Elton John.
Uncommon issues that would require a service visit in a traditional vehicle can be resolved in a matter of seconds using a trick in your Tesla. Press in and hold both steering wheel controls until the touchscreen turns black. Then lift off the controls and wait a few seconds for the screen to reset. Your turn signal stalk is right where you'd expect it. Press it up or down gently for 3 flashes. Press it all the way up or down to fully engage your turn signal. Unlike most other cars, the stalk will return to its central position while your signal is on. A sufficient change in steering angle will turn off the signal, like in any other car. To disengage it manually, gently press the stalk in either direction. Pull the turn signal stalk towards you to flash your high beam headlights. Push it away from you to turn on your high beams. With auto high beams activated from the touchscreen, your car will do its best to automatically dim the brights when oncoming traffic is detected. You can also set your windshield wipers to operate automatically when rain is detected. Your car really works to make your driving as easy as possible. To manually initiate a single windshield wipe, lightly press the button on the end of the turn signal stalk. This also brings up the windshield wiper controls on the touchscreen, so you can select between intermittent low and high, continuous slow and fast, and automatic. Pressing in the wiper button all the way will wash the windshield. Use the right stalk on the steering column to select between drive modes. With your foot on the brake pedal, press firmly up for reverse, firmly down for drive, and lightly in either direction for neutral. Press in the button on the end of the stalk to put your Tesla in park. The parking brake is automatically applied whenever your car is in park, so there's no extra step when you're somewhere steep. Also, once your car is in park, you can get out. There's no engine to turn off. Your Tesla powers off automatically when you get out and close the doors. One last notable physical control is above you. Press here for your hazard lights. Just about everything else can be operated using your voice or the touchscreen, which we'll cover next.
The thing to get used to is the fact that your gear stalk lever, in addition to just being reverse and drive, also activates cruise control and your autopilot. So that's one of the things that's a little hard to get used to in there. Are there any questions about anything that we just covered?
John, how you deactivate the cruise control? I know you go one down, is it up?
Yeah, it's like putting it in reverse. Scary as that may feel. But yes, if you go up, that will deactivate your cruise control. Also, if you touch your brake pedal, obviously that will deactivate the cruise control also. If you're using autopilot, you'll find that if you turn the wheel and disconnect autopilot, cruise control still stays on. Okay, because they kind of work in tandem. So one push down, engages cruise control. 2 pushes down engages your auto steer. When you disengage auto steers, your cruise control stays on unless you either lift up on the stalk or hit the brake pedal.
Thank you.
So let's take a quick look at the manual controls in the car. As you can see, there aren't a whole lot of them. Pretty much everything that you really want to do is going to be on your screen. The scroll wheel buttons on your steering wheel, as they talked about there, do multiple functions. They're called context sensitive buttons. So whatever you've got going on the screen is going to directly relate to what the steering wheel controls are going to do. The important one that everybody should always know is pressing the 2 steering wheel controls in at the same time, 13 and 15, is the same as doing like an alt control delete on a Windows computer. You're rebooting your computer. And if your screen is ever doing anything kind of unusual or unexpected, your first go-to place to go is to hit those 2 scroll wheels. Now, you can do that at any time. It doesn't matter if you're driving on a highway. It is not going to prevent your vehicle from functioning. It's going to reboot that main screen computer, but you'll still be able to drive the car. You'll be able to, obviously hit the go pedal, hit the brake pedal, all that steering, everything's going to work. In addition, your directional signals will also work, but you're not going to hear any sound from them. Because when the computer on the main screen hasn't rebooted yet, you're not going to get any feedback from that. But they are functioning. So you should be aware of that. If when you reboot, you've got cruise control and autopilot engaged, they will remain engaged. You can't, however, initiate them when the screen is dark. Okay, does that make sense? So rebooting will do nothing to disturb your driving pattern. Questions about that?
John, on the actual power off on the screen, you know how in a computer you're suggested to reboot, weekly or whatever. No one does, but is that a suggestion or only do it if there's issues and you're troubleshooting?
Yeah, you would never power the vehicle off unless you're having a problem.
Okay.
Because there's no reason for it. When the seat has a sensor, the driver's seat. When you get out of the driver's seat, it shuts the car off. Okay. Yeah. And there is a reboot process for the power off, and we'll talk about that too. But that's really if something's going on, you reboot the steering wheel buttons and it doesn't resolve the problem, then we go to the power off button on the screen. You should note in here too, important things. Number one, the number 1 button here, that opens your door. Even though the number 12 button is also a door opening device, it's a manual door release that's really supposed to be used in emergencies. So if you've got no power to the car for some reason, your 12-volt battery is dead, then you would use number 12 to open your door. But you don't want to use that on a regular basis. That's an emergency door release. Let's see. Yep, I think that's the only other thing that we should point out in there. Any other questions on that? Okay, then we're going to talk a little bit more now about the touchscreen.
The touchscreen works much like a smartphone. It displays and controls just about everything in your Tesla. The third of the screen closest to you presents the information that's most important while driving. Drive mode, current speed, and state of charge show at the top. Below is your driving visualization. This animates your Tesla's perception of its surroundings and gives readouts for active safety features like blind spot monitoring. Driver assistance features like auto steer are also indicated here. When your Tesla is in park, you can tap to open your trunks or charge port. Tap these icons to display the backup camera or charging menu, or to initiate a voice command from the screen. Tap here to view your windshield wiper controls. As a reminder, your windshield wiper controls also appear anytime you use the white button. Swipe left or right to toggle between what we call cards, which contain additional features and information. Up here is your status bar. Most of these icons are interactive. Tap the Bluetooth icon to connect your phone for calls and media. Bring up the Bluetooth menu on your phone, and then on the car's screen, select Add New Device and Start Search. Once your phone's name appears, select it and wait for a prompt on your phone. Select Pair within the prompt, and you're connected. This fully interactive map serves as the backdrop for most of the screen. Explore by dragging, pinching, and rotating, just as you would on a smartphone. Tap to select a point of interest, or press and hold to drop a pin. These red pins are Tesla's supercharger stations, where you'll be charging on long-distance trips. You can always pull up these and other nearby charging locations by tapping here. Enter a destination here, or use voice commands.
Navigate to SpaceX.
If you need to charge to reach your destination, Tesla Trip Planner will automatically route you to superchargers along the way. Access more apps from the bar at the bottom of the screen. This is your app launcher, which contains most of them. The Media app is one touch away and can be moved so it displays below the map. You also adjust your climate from here. Just tap for front and rear defrosters, heated seats, or to turn on climate control and reveal the climate menu. Tap or slide to adjust temperature, or just tell your Tesla what setting you want.
Set the temperature to 70.
Press and hold here to turn climate control off, or again, just tell your car what you want. The climate menu houses many more controls. It's even where you position the airflow. Simply move it where you like right from the screen. This is pretty fun, so we're sorry to tell you that you'll probably only ever adjust it once. Your preferred airflow position saves to your driver profile, so even it's set exactly how you like it every time you're behind the wheel. Finally, tap here to bring up the controls menu, where you can view and toggle numerous settings. You even open your glove compartment from here. One important point to note in a driving tab: regenerative braking. As you lift off the accelerator pedal, your Tesla will slow down while recapturing energy and returning it to the battery pack. You can see on the driving visualization that your brake lights turn on when regen causes significant deceleration. It maximizes efficiency and control, ultimately making it easier to drive.
Okay, a lot of stuff covered in that. I'll start out with questions. Okay. Let's see, you have a new car coming, Shyam. I don't believe, if you saw the settings in there for regen, you're not going to have those anymore.
Oh, okay.
In all the new cars, it used to be that you could change the intensity on regenerative braking, and you had some options there. You could turn it off. Can't do that anymore.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so new
Yeah.
vehicles, you're not going to see that. Tom and Jose, you probably have those settings, right? Depending on how old your cars are.
Right, yep.
Okay. Yeah, they don't exist anymore in the new ones.
How about that?
Yeah.
Believe me, once you have the regenerative on, you'll never go back to.
Yeah. I think Tesla kind of realized that. There was a time years ago when I got my first couple of cars, where Tesla would always say that you should take regenerative braking off when you're driving in the snow. That was their original recommendation. And then I think they realized over a period of time, the problem was, if you're a new driver and you're driving your Tesla and you take your foot off the gas pedal too quickly in a slippery situation, it's the same as slamming on the brakes. So it could create a skidding problem. But if you're once you're somewhat experienced with the car, that's not going to happen, because you could regulate it the same way you would on any kind of surface. So that's why I think way back they used to let you turn it off. Now they're with the new vehicles, they've decided to get rid of that. Okay, so touchscreen overview. Now you notice this touchscreen is different than the one we were looking at in the video, because this is the updated UI. For instance, 5, 6, and 7 on the other screen was located up here. It's not up here anymore. Okay, it's now been located down here, and it permanently displays here. The reason for most of these changes, as I understand it, is with the new full self-driving software that's going to be released. They needed some more real estate here for the visualizations. So that's why, if you've noticed, the map is a little bit smaller, and they've taken a little more real estate over here for the display on the car. Okay, so as we look over these things, number 3 kind of replaces the T that they keep pointing to up there about opening stuff. So instead of the T being on the top, if you hit this button here, number 3, that's going to open up your menu. And that's going to bring all your menus up on this side. And then you can access any of the settings that are in there. Let's see. The other thing they don't show on here is if you tap anywhere on the screen, it brings up 3 icons on here. And the 3 icons, the first one is if you want to view the map in satellite image, so as opposed to looking at the map this way, you can do that by hitting this little globe there. My recommendation is that you don't, as a rule, do that while you're driving around. It actually will slow your map down a little bit as far as refresh. So you're better off leaving the map in this mode. And what I do with it is, as I'm approaching my destination, if I'm going somewhere I haven't been before, that's when I'll hit the globe when I'm about a mile or two away, just so I can see the aerial view and get an idea where parking lots may be and all that kind of stuff. But I don't keep it on for any kind of length on the trip. The second icon that's in there is kind of a traffic light. And if you hit that traffic light, it gives you immediate over-the-air updates on traffic situations, such as, construction. All that stuff will light up on your map, and you'll see a road will then have like a red line on it to indicate that traffic slowed in that area. So you'll get real-time traffic updates when you do that. And the final icon, when you tap on this, will be a lightning bolt. And that lightning bolt will bring up all the superchargers that are around you, going from the closest to the furthest away. And it will also show you the closest destination chargers. Okay. As we go across the top up here, yeah, we've got the Bluetooth symbol up here. You do need to pair your phone. And you actually need, in a way, you need to connect your phone twice, because your phone is your key. So you're going to do Bluetooth pairing at where number 11 is on the screen here. That's going to engage your phone for hands-free dialing. You're also going to have to connect your phone in the app, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But your phone will also be connected through Bluetooth so that it acts as the key to your vehicle. Next item over here is cell phone strength, but that is not your cell phone. All Teslas come with an internal built-in cell phone network access. Tesla has its private cell phone network. This is the signal strength for that network. If you don't have a signal here, you're not going to get adequate map updates, and you may have problems streaming some of your media if you're listening to Spotify or whatever music you're listening to. So you need a signal there to do that. The next item over here is your HomeLink button. Now, HomeLink is an option in Model 3 and Model Y. If you actually can't order it with your car, it's pretty crazy. You go to the Tesla store and you order it separately. It costs $300 for HomeLink. It gets delivered to your house, and then the mobile tech will come to your house and install it. If they want to install your HomeLink at the service center, tell them no. The reason for that is you want the mobile tech to come to your house and install it, and make sure that they pair it to your garage door to make sure it's working. Do it at the service center, and then you've got to go through all the programming routine when you get home. So that gets you out of that whole mess. Now, the next item over here, this is the dash cam monitor. And when you're driving, Tesla dash cam basically maintains a 1 hour repeating loop of everything you're doing as you drive from all the cameras. So it'll keep 1 hour of video, and then it overwrites that hour, and it just constantly does that. There's a way to save a clip from that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The next item over, this is Sentry mode. So this is when your car is parked and you want to keep all the cameras activated to protect your vehicle. You tap on this and that turns it on. That's this right here. This is the profile that's active in your vehicle. And these are obviously pretty self-explanatory. If you click on the little padlock over here, you can lock and unlock your car right from there. Okay. Any questions on that?
I have one.
Yeah.
So I've been reading about the Sentry mode and using it, but do you know if the new models come with a new Tesla USB stick inserted into it already?
Yeah, you're gonna have a stick in your glove box.
Okay.
I will tell you right now that if you use Sentry mode extensively, that the stick they send you won't be enough.
Okay.
All right, because those clips take a lot of room. I actually I have I got a deal, you know, it was on sale. I have a 2 terabyte SSD drive in my car. And I'm assuming that that'll give me a year or two before I'll have to worry about clearing anything off it. So,
Yeah, I see the one Alan's putting up right now.
yeah. I mean, the stick that I think Tesla gives you is only like, I think it's like 60 gigs or something like that.
64, yeah, it's a teaser. Now, John, where you have your terabyte? Do you have it in a glove box or where do you have it connected?
No, I have a Model Y that I picked up last June, and that was before they put the connector in the glove box. So I'm actually underneath where you charge your phone. That's where I have my SSD connected under there.
I bought a Jetta hub, and they have a little dock for, so I have a 2020, so it still has the USB A's in it. And they also make a version for the Model Y and the new 2021 models, where it does USB-C, but they'll extend it out. They'll give you 2 USB-Cs, 2 A's, and then they have a little compartment door. And then they have a new one, which takes like SSDs like that sort of mount to the door and sort of just magnetically mount to everything, despite what's in your glove box. So they give you a little bit of a USB hub plus a sort of private place to kind of hide your drive.
Alan, you said that there's a 2021 version of that?
Yeah, Jada just had updated. I get emails because I bought also wireless. So if you're getting a 2021 model, Tesla gives you the wireless charging pads now. So, but Jetta had updated a whole bunch of stuff. So they have a bunch of little accessories that you can buy for that. There's a couple others. Tesla Tap, I think, is another one that does stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, actually, in the 2020 Model Ys all have the wireless charging in them also already.
Yeah.
Now the new Model 3s, you're getting a Model 3, right, Cheyenne?
Yeah.
You're probably going to have this late. I would bet you're going to have the new center console in there.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
likely.
where it's like
Yeah, so
mad.
it's going to be a little different than the console that they've had out to this point. So.
Yep.
And let's talk about personalization.
If you've already found your way in, well done. The easiest way to open the door is to reach with your outer hand, press here with your thumb, and pull the handle. When you want to get out, press this button with your thumb. Tap here at the top of the touchscreen to create your driver profile so you can get comfortable and save your settings. Reach down to the side of your seat to adjust the seat bottom, seat back, and lumbar support. To adjust the position of the steering wheel, go back to the touchscreen. Use the left steering wheel control to adjust your steering column up, down, in, or out. Select mirrors on the touchscreen, and then use the same left steering wheel control to adjust each side mirror. Select Save once everything is set. Your rear view mirror adjusts manually, like in any other car. It's a convenient opportunity to take a peek at how great you look in that driver's seat. You can readjust your steering wheel and mirrors at any time by selecting Controls and then Quick Controls on the touchscreen, or by using voice commands.
Adjust my steering wheel.
These and many other settings save to your driver profile, so your Tesla will always be just how you like it, even if you're not the only driver. You can link your profile to your phone key, and your car will automatically adjust to you as you open the door.
So, questions about the video?
I have one.
Sure.
The main drivers for my car will be like myself and my dad. Do we need to keep the separate, or will we have to have our phones connected to like separate key cards, or is it fine that we're both on the same account with just like different profile settings?
Yeah. It doesn't really care about that. As long, what you're going to have to do is you're going to set up your profile and you're going to set up his profile, and then you're going to match his phone to his profile and your phone to your profile, as it showed you right in that screen there.
Yeah.
And once you do that, then when you get in the car and as a matter of fact, you can even designate which of your phones is the dominant phone.
Mhm.
So if they both appear at the same time, it'll select the one that you want to be dominant.
Okay.
So yeah, and the only thing you'll need, you're going to need the key card with you when you initially pair the phone, especially to use as a key.
Okay.
We've talked about a number of things. Now we've talked about climate control, how to open the doors. We've kind of talked about driving, how to initiate that. So kind of the next step here is to talk about exactly what we've been kind of bouncing off, which is the keys and how the keys operate.
Your phone is your Tesla's key. We call it Phone Key. Clever name, huh? Phone Key wirelessly communicates with your car over Bluetooth, so even when you're somewhere without cellular connectivity, your phone will function as the key. Open the Tesla app, sign in with your Tesla account credentials, and you can see your car and any other Tesla products that you have. To set up Phone Key, you need to use one of your backup key cards, so let's cover them first. These backup key cards are here in case your phone dies or you need to hand your Tesla to a valet. You should always keep one with you, wherever you keep your driver's license. To unlock your Tesla using the key card, press it against the driver's side door pillar below the camera, like this. Do the same to lock the car. To power on your Tesla so you can drive it using the backup key card, place it here behind the front row cup holders and press the brake. These icons flash, and park, reverse, neutral, and drive appear, indicating that your Tesla is ready to drive. You can now move the key card and shift to drive or reverse. While you'll rarely use the backup key card, you do need it to set up Phone Key. Here's how. Make sure that your phone's Bluetooth is on and open the Tesla app. Select Phone Key and follow the prompts. The app will have you tap the key card against the door pillar or behind the cup holders to complete the setup process. Once your phone is activated as a phone key, if you approach your locked Tesla with the phone key on you, pulling a door handle instantly unlocks the car. Simply sit in the driver's seat with your phone in the car, buckle up, press the brake pedal, and you're ready to shift to drive or reverse. We recommend activating walk-away door lock. With this setting on, you can take entire trips without reaching for your phone. When you walk away with your phone, your Tesla will automatically lock. With walk-away door lock off, tap the lock button within the app to lock your Tesla. You can also use Phone Key to control the trunks and charge port over Bluetooth. This is in addition to the span of other Tesla app controls that use the internet connections of your phone and your car. Quick note on the front trunk. The hood is made of aluminum, so it's much lighter than those of traditional cars. To close it, set it down gently and then lean into it with your palms on each side of the Tesla T, like this. It will click shut. Phone Key works as long as the car you're using is the most recent product to be pulled up in the Tesla app. If you've most recently selected a different Tesla product, you'll need to select the car you want to use before Phone Key will work with that car. As long as the correct car is selected, there's no need to have the app open or your phone unlocked. Your phone just needs to be powered on with Bluetooth active. Speaking of Bluetooth, there's a separate Bluetooth pairing process to connect your phone to the car for calls and media. We'll cover that soon. You can manage phone keys and backup key cards on the touchscreen by selecting Controls and then Locks.
Questions about that one?
There's no issue with using the key card instead of the phone, is there?
It's not really an issue, but the reality is it's probably a pain in the butt.
Well, my wife and I both used the car, and when I hooked up both phones, it got really confusing because we switch who drives sometimes, and I eventually disconnected and we just went to the key cards. But
Well, there is another alternative. I don't know if you can see what's on my hand there, but if you see that ring on my finger,
yep.
that's the same as your backup key card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I wear this all the time, and I use this a lot. When I get in the car, I put my arm right on the center to start the car. I just tap my ring against this, right beyond the cup holders. And this will also work on your outside door locks. You can use this on the pillar.
Is that Tesla through Tesla or
No,
a third party?
There's actually, there's a company called Colmo, Colmo. I bought this on Amazon. It was about 120 bucks. And it's ceramic. There's rings out there that are wooden. Don't get those. People have been
Yeah.
already taught, especially with all the hand washing, they've been beating the crap out of these wood rings. So yeah, this is ceramic. It holds up really well and it does a great job. So if you're not going to use your phone, that's what I would suggest you do instead
Oh,
of,
cool. Okay.
and that
And
way,
that was T as in Tom, OLMO?
no, that's C as in cat.
Oh, okay.
Colmo. You can, and like I said, I bought it on Amazon. You can get it right. If you just do a search on Amazon for that, you'll get that. Yeah, Alan will throw the link in the chat for you. But yeah, well worth it. Now I still use my phone as a key. I have it set up as that. I do find that sometimes it's a little bit erratic. One of the things, if you have an iPhone, you need to make sure that there's a setting on the iPhone so that the Tesla app can always access your location. You need to have that enabled if you want your phone key to work properly. And Tom, you might have been having problems with that when you were using your two phones there.
Yeah, it's an Android, two Android
okay.
phones.
There's a similar function in Android to allow the app to access your location in the background.
Okay.
I'm not an Android guy, so I don't know where it is, but you might want to check on that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have one question. Is there any easy way to use your Apple Watch for it, or no?
I actually do the same thing.
Okay.
There's an application called Remote Tesla.
Okay.
And there's also Tesla for Apple Watch. Both of those apps are out there. I actually have them both, and I have them both on my watch. I like both of the apps. They're not that expensive. I just figured the heck with it. I just buy them both.
Mhm.
And yeah, the Apple Watch will work fine, but you have to actively do something. In other words, for me to do that, I've got to tap the corner of my watch to activate that.
Mm. Okay.
So it's not something that's going to work automatically, and it's not going to act like your phone would to automatically open and close the doors when you approach.
Mhm.
Okay, but all the other functions are on the watch there if you want them. I actually find I use it more than anything else if I want to open the frunk, or I want, I'll go grab the watch real quick instead of rip my phone out of my pocket.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Now you can also, and Tom, this is, something to consider too. If you don't want to deal with the key, you can get a key fob for 150 bucks if you want to do that. If you'd rather deal with key fobs. Personally, I came out of my Model S that I was ecstatic being able to give up a key fob. I was so sick of carrying that thing around all the time. So I love the way it's set up right now. The important thing to realize with the phone key also, while the phone can actually be a key on the Model S and the X on previous models, it wasn't safe to use it that way because it only connected to your car through the internet. So if you had a bad cell connection somewhere and you had a Model S and an X and you were depending on your phone to be your key, you could have a problem if you couldn't get a cell signal. It's not the case with the way it's now set up in our cars, because the connection now is a Bluetooth connection. It doesn't care whether you have a cell connection or not. So now it is actually safe to use as a key. Here's what the Tesla app looks like. And in the Tesla app, when you want to set up your phone as a key, that's the function right there. You click on phone key and it'll walk you through exactly what you need to do to set your phone up as a key. Now, functions like phone key, like I said before, are Bluetooth connections to your car. Also, opening your trunk and your frunk from your phone are also done over Bluetooth. However, things like climate control and your charging functions are done over the internet. So you need a cell signal and you need an internet signal in order for those functions to connect to your car. All righty.
For many Tesla drivers, autopilot is the very best part of Tesla ownership. With autopilot in use, driving is more enjoyable and you arrive at your destination more relaxed. And as with so many aspects of your Tesla, over-the-air software updates ensure that autopilot gets even better and more capable over time. Autopilot consists of active safety and driver assistance features that make your car safer and more convenient to drive. We at Tesla are excited about the full self-driving future. Today, you must be fully attentive and have your hands on the wheel at all times while driving, regardless of what features are active. Let's walk through Autopilot's key features so you can give them a try. Safety is our #1 priority in everything we do at Tesla. Not only is your car remarkably effective at keeping you and your passengers safe in the event of a collision, it also has active safety features that help you avoid collisions in the first place. You can review and toggle these features from the Autopilot menu by selecting Controls and then Autopilot. Available driver assistance features vary depending upon the car's configuration. Be sure to look for them on the Autopilot menu so you know how your Tesla is equipped and so you can enable the features you'd like to use. If you learn about a feature from these videos that isn't on your Tesla, we might be able to add it via an over-the-air software update. Check the Tesla app to explore upgrades. It's easiest to think of Autopilot's driver assistance features as advanced versions of cruise control. Like when using traditional cruise control, you are always in charge of what your car is doing, and you need to be ready to take action at any moment. The features make your driving easier and more relaxing. We'll cover driver assistance features from simplest to most complex. Traffic-aware cruise control, or TAC for short, adjusts speed based upon the vehicle ahead of you. When TAC is available, a gray circle with a number in it appears here. That number is your set speed, the fastest your Tesla will travel when TAC is engaged. You can adjust set speed preferences and others from the Autopilot menu. Activating TAC is very simple. You don't need to enter a cruise mode like in other cars. When TAC shows as available, simply press the drive stalk firmly down once, like you're shifting to drive again. The gray circle turns blue, indicating that TAC is active, so you can release the accelerator pedal. Your Tesla will travel at the set speed when the road is open, and will slow down as necessary for curves and traffic in your lane ahead. TAC responds to most objects, but can't recognize everything, so be ready to take over as needed. TAC does not attempt to slow for traffic lights, stop signs, or other traffic controls, unless your car is equipped with traffic light and stop sign control and has this feature enabled. To change your set speed while driving, simply spin the right scroll wheel on the steering wheel, up or down. Push the scroll wheel right or left to adjust your following distance. To deactivate TAC, push the drive stalk up or gently press the brake pedal. AutoSteer builds upon traffic-aware cruise control by adding steering assistance. A gray steering wheel icon appears here when AutoSteer is available. Press the drive stalk down twice in quick succession to activate AutoSteer. The steering wheel icon and the lane lines in the driving visualization turn blue. If TAC isn't already active, it will be engaged as well. TAC is always on when AutoSteer is on. As its name suggests, AutoSteer automatically moves the steering wheel to keep you centered in your lane. It does the work of constantly adjusting steering for you, so you can just lightly hold the wheel and scan your surroundings, so you're ready in case you need to take over. You should know that AutoSteer spoils you. You don't realize how much effort you've been putting into keeping a car in its lane until you drive with AutoSteer for a few days. You'll never want to travel long distance or deal with traffic in another car again. Sorry about that. If your Tesla doesn't detect your hands on the steering wheel while using AutoSteer, it will prompt you to apply more force to the wheel. It's measuring a small amount of turning force or resistance from your hands, so light turning force will clear this prompt. If you repeatedly ignore these warnings, you're using AutoSteer unsafely, and you will be locked out from using it for the rest of your trip. A larger amount of turning force will deactivate AutoSteer while leaving traffic-aware cruise control on. To deactivate both AutoSteer and TAC, push the drive stalk up or gently press the brake pedal. If your Tesla is equipped with auto lane change, a press of the turn signal while AutoSteer is on initiates an automatic lane change. Check your mirrors and blind spot as you would normally. Press the turn signal stalk lightly when there's space. And with your supervision, your Tesla will automatically move one lane over and continue to steer in the new lane. Hardware on new cars needs to calibrate before features like TAC and auto steer will be available. This one-time self-calibration usually completes within a couple hours of driving on well-marked roads. The gray icons won't appear until the required calibration has completed. Auto steer also needs to be enabled from the autopilot menu. As a reminder, more details about active safety and driver assistance features can be found in the on-screen owner's manual.
Okay. We'll start with questions.
I have a couple questions, if I may.
Absolutely, Tom. That's why we're here, Val.
Okay, the lane departure avoidance, the what else here? The collision, forward collision warning, the automatic emergency braking. If they're selected on the screen we saw earlier, are they available all the time or only when you're using autopilot?
They're available all the time.
Okay.
However, the caveat is always remember there's a difference between active intervention on the part of the car and just a warning. Okay, so something that's labeled as a warning is exactly that. It's going to alert you. Excuse me. It's going to alert you, but it's not going to take any active action. And I think well, we're probably jumping the gun because I think we do safety features in one of the next slides, but we can talk about this now. For example, automatic emergency braking is a great example of a feature that will actually intervene, but will still require intervention from you. So in a situation where the car senses that you're approaching an object too quickly, it's going to engage automatic emergency braking. You're going to get a red lit warning on your screen. It's never going to bring your car to a stop though. What it does is it starts the braking process. When you go to hit the brake, you're going to find your pedals already halfway down. So the purpose of automatic emergency braking is to reduce your response time to an emergency. It's not to avoid the collision. That's always going to be the driver's responsibility.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you needed that only worked with autopilot or not.
No.
But at the end of the day, if I was distracted driving down the road and the car was stopped dead in front of me, I've heard that blaring noise when it senses that. But even if I didn't do anything, it would run right back into the back of that vehicle. I have to intervene at that point to stop
Yes, it would hit that car, but at a reduced rate of speed since it already started the braking process.
Okay.
Yes.
And the blind spot detection.
Yep, is a warning.
Okay.
The only time that would do anything is if you have full self-driving and you have auto lane change and you've told the car that it can change lanes on its own without you intervening, then in that event, when there's a car in your blind spot, then it'll actively not make that lane change.
Okay, but if you're just driving down, you put your turn signal on to move into the other lane, and there's a car there, it's gonna let you know there's something there. You'll get a warning.
Well, it's pretty weak, if you ask me, Tom. I mean, this has been a complaint from owners for a while. The blind spot warning doesn't give you an audible warning. The only thing it does is if you look on your screen, you're going to see a car will appear in red when it's in your blind spot.
Okay.
So and as we all know, when you're looking to change lanes and you're looking in the mirror, the last thing you're looking at is your screen.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. We're really hoping that they're going to improve that in the next version.
Yeah, I read that a lot of people are complaining about that and trying to figure out how to upgrade that feature.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's helpful. I appreciate that because I've been rubbernecking all the time and I'm thinking I shouldn't have to do that, but to a degree, you need to be really careful.
Yeah, the thing is, if you look down at your screen before you initiate the lane change, you will see if there's a car in your blind spot.
Okay.
So, but it's counterintuitive. It's not something we're used to doing. If you're making a lane change to the right, to the left, your first instinct isn't to look down to the right.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a vehicle now, another vehicle with the little indicator in the mirror. So you're looking in the mirror and you see it. And if you put your turn signal on, it's going to start beeping at you. But,
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Tesla really has no excuse for not improving this.
Right. I agree.
This is not technology that's it's not rocket science. It's not SpaceX.
Yes. That's okay. Appreciate that.
Yep, no problem. Anybody else?
Yeah, just kind of adding on to the question that Tom asked, and just to clarify, so I hate to bring this up, but I saw like the videos of like the autopilot saves of Teslas. So if you're just driving in your lane and a car starts to like veer into your lane, will your Tesla like move or like swerve to avoid it
Yes.
on its own?
Yes, that's side collision avoidance. Again, that's not, again, when we talked about the items that Tom was talking about, I said, anything that says warning is not going to take active intervention. But
Okay.
if it says avoidance, then it's going to take an active role in avoiding a collision. So
And that's all the
if it says
time,
collision
not just-
avoidance, expect it to respond.
Okay. And that's all the time, not just in autopilot?
As long as it's set in that menu.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a toggle switch in the menu that you can turn on or off. Some people don't want it to do that.
Mhm.
As long as that toggle switch is on, then yeah, you're fine. But however, for example, the emergency braking that Tom and I were just talking about, you can turn that off for a drive, but every time you restart the car, it turns itself back on, so it stays on all the time.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Alan is the director of the King of Prussia chapter, just so you guys know. He doesn't have a life, so he pops on these classes. Okay, so autopilot. Let's just take a brief look at exactly how autopilot works. And you notice there's an underlined statement on this page. It does not make your vehicle autonomous. I've been saying for years, you have to view this full self-driving feature or these autopilot features as driver assistance features. I don't treat them any differently than I would if I had a car with cruise control. It doesn't relieve me of responsibility for driving the car. It just takes some of the load off me while I drive the car. So autopilot actually has a number of cameras, and it's a mix of cameras, ultrasonics, and radar. You've got forward-looking radar. You've got main forward cameras. You've got narrow forward cameras, and the same thing with your rearward-looking cameras also, which all together gives the car a 360-degree view. So autopilot itself, and every vehicle, every Tesla vehicle has this, is made up of the traffic-aware cruise control feature we just talked about and auto steer. It also comes with these standard safety features. Automatic emergency braking, which we just talked about. Again, doesn't stop the vehicle. It starts the braking process so that you can apply the brakes yourself, and it reduces your response time. Auto high beams, again, now these two warnings, side collision warning, front collision warning, those are warnings. They are not going to take an active role in moving your vehicle around. Okay, we kind of went through this already. Traffic aware cruise control, single stroke down, single stroke down on the gear stalk, double stroke down on the gear stalk, gives you both together. Anytime auto steer is engaged, your traffic aware cruise control is engaged. Auto steer cannot be on unless they're both on together. So let's really talk about what full self-driving means. Right now, full self-driving, in addition to autopilot, is the top two items on this chart. It's a combination of navigate on autopilot and smart summon. Supposedly what's coming in the next releases is going to be from home to your destination. Get in your car at home, get to your destination with minimal or no intervention with the car doing everything. I think we're a ways away from that being completely intervention free, but actually, if you register for the FSD class on the 24th, I think you'll learn a whole lot about where that's going. Okay, any questions about autopilot? Cool. All right, let's talk about charging. Again, this is something that as traditional drivers, we don't have to deal with until we got this car. You know, ICE cars, you pull up to the gas station, you put the pump in, you know, you pump all this fluid in the car and you go away. Well, electric vehicles obviously work somewhat differently, and there's a couple of different ways of charging that we need to be aware of.
This is your charging kit. Inside, you'll find your mobile connector, which allows you to charge your Tesla anywhere there's a power outlet. A standard 110-volt outlet charges your giant battery relatively slowly, so we don't recommend it as a primary charging solution. But it's nice to keep the connector in your car. You can also purchase adapters from Tesla that allow you to use your mobile connector with outlets that deliver more power. To charge with the mobile connector, first plug it into the outlet and then into your Tesla. A Tesla wall connector is the best home charging option. If you can, just top off every night at home. It takes 2 seconds to plug in, and your car likes to charge as often as is convenient. Here's how to plug in. Point the connector at your car and press here to open the charge port. You can also open it from the touchscreen, phone key, or by pressing on the charge port itself. The Tesla T illuminates in white, indicating that your car is ready to charge. Firmly plug the connector into the charge port, and the T will first turn blue to show that the car is preparing to charge, and then to a green pulse to indicate that it's charging. The green T pulses slower as charging approaches completion, and turns to a solid green when charging is done. To unplug, press and hold the connector button, and the T will turn blue and then white. Once it's white, simply pull out the connector and then release the button. Your charge port will close automatically. If the T is ever amber, this means that the connector couldn't be latched and likely isn't plugged in all the way. Unplugging and plugging back in more firmly usually clears this. A red T indicates that there's likely a fault with the charge source. Check your touchscreen for a fault message. Our incredibly fast supercharger stations have their own connectors that operate the same way. Supercharging costs more than local home charging, but always far less than the cost of gas. Supercharger sessions automatically bill to the credit card that you have on file. Say goodbye to the grimy gas station swipe. Tesla's expansive and rapidly growing international charging networks ensure that you can travel anywhere you like with ease today. We're happy that EV charging locations from other companies are also quickly spreading. There's an additional adapter in your charging kit that allows you to plug in at many of these locations, as well as at public and workplace EV charging stations. First, attach the adapter to the charging station's connector. Then, plug into your Tesla normally. When it's time to unplug, press and hold the button on the station's connector and grip the adapter with your other hand. Once the T turns white, remove the connector and adapter together. Then, be sure to take your adapter with you. You can use the charging menu on the touchscreen to schedule charging to take advantage of low-cost electricity and to set a charge limit. It's best to set a charge limit within daily for everyday driving. Simply adjust to within trip from your car or your phone the night before taking a road trip.
Okie doke. So questions about charging.
What's your recommendation on battery percent when you charge, just for daily driving, not before a long trip?
For daily driving, I charge my car based on what I'm really going to use. I'm kind of in your situation, Tom. I'm retired, and with COVID and all the stuff going on, I got my Model Y last June. I have 6,000 miles on it. So I only charge my car to about 80%.
Okay.
There's rarely ever a reason why I need to have more than that in there. Tesla's recommendation is, if you're a typical person, the Model 3Y can charge to 90% on a daily basis. The S and the X can charge to 80% on a daily basis. Personally, like I said, there's no reason for me to keep the battery that high, then I don't. In addition to that, if you're going to leave your car sitting for any period of time, more than 30 days, Tesla's recommendation is that you leave it set at 50%.
Do you, what about, is it best to leave it plugged in all the time?
Always, yes.
Okay.
Yes. We'll talk about that in a couple of screens from now too, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, your car likes to be plugged in and there's no reason for it not to be. Let's see, Cheyenne, am I pronouncing your name right, by the way?
I go by Sham. It's
Okay,
just-
great, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
I don't know, it's-
For someone who's lived with my last name, I'm kind of sensitive to people mispronouncing
I do
it.
it.
Have you figured out exactly how you're going to be charging your car?
Yeah, we have the 240 volt, the home connector, and we're getting that put in, I think in a week, around like right after we get the car.
Okay.
But same thing, like we don't do a lot of driving right now. I would probably take it out daily to go to like the gym, which is like 3 miles back and forth, so like 6 miles a day right now.
Yep.
So I think for the week or so, or even just using the home, like 120 volt will be fine for right now. But we ordered it and we have it at our house right now, the 240 volt.
You got the one from Tesla, the high powered one.
Yeah. It's also the third Gen
Gen 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gen 3.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Good choice. I mean, there's a lot of people who, I mean, this is a constant debate as to whether the HPWC, the high powered wall connector versus the NEMA 1450 plug. In general, we always recommend that you use the high powered wall connector. The NEMA 1450 plug on a long-term basis, there's been a lot of failures documented on those plugs. So, good move. As a matter of fact, one of the other founders of the club, Ken Levin, who had been using a NEMA 1450, the plug literally just melted in his garage. And you just hear these stories all the time. Personally, I think it has to do with hanging the mobile connector on out of the outlet. That couple of pounds of weight constantly hanging on that plug tends to pull the plug away and it starts to arc as soon as those connectors move a little bit, and that's where you start generating heat. So recommendation is, you're buying a $60,000, $70,000 car, spend the $500 and get the mobile connector, and then go put in for the 30% Fed rebate anyway. So
Yeah. Is that what it is, 30%?
Yeah.
I know Pico offers some rebate, but it's not on my account yet because I'm still working from the carport.
Yeah, well, we know you have a unique situation now. Okay, so anyway, so charging basics. Congratulations, folks, because here in Pennsylvania, I think as of June, I think almost all the utilities in the state will be offering time of use rates, where we'll be able to get discounts by charging our car, like between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. kind of thing. So keep an eye out for that. And that's where you would use things like scheduled charging, where that comes in handy. Where we don't want to use scheduled charging, and this is kind of important, if you're traveling and it's wintertime and it's cold, you always want to, if you're on a road trip and you're going to hotels with destination charges and traveling along, you always want to keep a rule in the back of your head of charge when you arrive. You don't want to schedule charging, because if you show up at a hotel and it's 30 degrees outside and you know that you're going to be parking your car out in a parking lot, and your plan is to charge it first thing in the morning, or you schedule your charging so it starts charging at 4 a.m. before you're going to leave or something, what's going to happen is you're going to get a cold soaked battery pack. And when your car is ready to charge, it could take an hour or two just to warm the pack up enough so it's ready to charge again. So we always say, charge when you arrive. Your battery is warm, you've been driving, it's all ready it's happily going to take whatever juice you throw at it. So charge up your car when you arrive so that it's all ready to go for the next day. Tom, did you have a question?
Yeah, you can't really schedule when the charging starts per se, can you? In other words, if you wanted to set it to start at midnight, because that's when the rates go down, or 1 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't plug it in at 7 o'clock at night and it would know to start at 12 or 1 a.m.
Yes.
Or am I?
Yes, with the latest release, which is not being displayed on this screen, it gave you the ability to do that.
Okay.
You can now set the time that you want the charging to begin.
Okay. But does that defeat the purpose of keeping it plugged in all the time during the day then? And if you're going to go 2 or 3?
Yeah, it certainly can. It certainly can. It really is, look, the bottom line is it's really going to depend on how much you care about getting a reduced rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't think I spend $20 a month on charging my car. So if they're going to tell me that it's not going to be $18 a month or $15 a month, I probably am not going to do anything different than I do now.
All right.
Okay, so does anything on this screen questionable for anybody? I mean, this is pretty straightforward, I think. Okay. So, and this is what we've talked about: charging at home, either using the mobile connector or the HPWC, the high-powered wall connector, and how to open the charge port. Charge port warning lights, just so everybody's aware of these. Most Tesla owners never see anything except for the white, blue, and green. The white says it's okay to remove your cable. The blue and green, your car's connected, plugged in, and the green indicates that you're charging, especially when it's a blinking green. The amber, 99.9% of the time, if you see an amber, that means when you went to plug the connector in, you didn't get a good connection, it didn't lock in. Pull it out, put it back in again, it'll solve that problem. Red, however, does tell you that you've got a fault somewhere. It's either in your breaker panel, in your high-powered wall connector, or your plug, depending on what you're using, or you could have an internal problem with your charger. But that's usually the last thing that you look at. Okay, so what we were talking about before. So when and how much should you charge your car? You plug your car in nightly, set the limit max of 90% for the 3 and Y. You trip charge beyond that only right before you're ready to depart on a longer trip. You never want your car to be sitting at 100% overnight or anything above 90% overnight. That is not a good thing for your battery. That increases battery degradation. So if I'm leaving in the morning and I know that I need 100% charge for my trip for some reason, and I'll explain to you in a minute why that never really happens. But if I think I need 100% charge, I'm going to charge to 90 the night before. When I get up in the morning and I start to get ready, I pick up my phone and I'll set the charge over to 100%, so that by the time I'm ready to get in the car and go, that's when the car will reach the 100% charge. My rule on 100% charging is I never want the car to sit for more than 1 hour at 100%. So when it hits 100%, I'm getting in that car within an hour and driving. Now, if you do it that way, you're never going to hurt your car. You're not going to hurt your car charging to 100%. It gets hurt sitting at 100%. There's a difference in that. Now, quite frankly, I rarely find that I need to charge that high, because one of the things that does when you do that is it automatically sets your regen, it limits your regenerative braking. I know in my situation, I live at a fairly high elevation. I can pick up 3 or 4% of charge just leaving my house and driving to the nearest highway, because it's downhill from my house going out. So I don't want to limit my regenerative braking. So in my mind, when I charge at 90, I'm really charging at 95, because by the time I'm done, and I get to any place that I want to go, I've added another 3 or 4% of charge just because I've got such a large downhill run. So I like to keep the regenerative braking active. I think that you lose a lot more than you gain by charging above that 90% mark. Never leave your car unplugged if the battery is below 20%. That's an absolute rule. Again, you'll find yourself in a situation where you can do damage to your battery. They like to be plugged in. They like to be charged. Any questions about that last screen? Okay. So what we're dealing with right now is these are a couple of the most commonly asked questions that we get in these classes. So the first thing is it normal to lose range while parked? Well, absolutely. You're going to lose battery energy even when the car's parked. Of course, your computers are consuming some energy, but most importantly, our cars come with probably the most sophisticated temperature management system for our batteries that anybody's ever made. In the process of maintaining that temperature, however, it's going to take a reasonable amount of energy from our battery packs to do that. So yes, and it's called vampire drain. All right, so how much of that is normal? Well, it kind of depends on what we're doing. Our cars go to sleep when they're sitting for any, length of time. When they're sleeping, if our car is sleeping and not doing anything, you'll still lose roughly 1 to 2% a day, which is about 3 to 5 miles on average for most vehicles. But if the car is awake, the difference between that is you could lose more than 5% of your charge a day just because the car is awake. So how does the car wake up? Well, every time you check the car with the app, you wake the car up. Okay, so if your car's sleeping, you open your app, you'll see sometimes waking up on the bottom of the app there. Well, when it's doing that wake up, it's basically not, it's losing the advantage that it had from sleeping. And once you've woken it up, it could go 20, 30 minutes before it goes back to sleep again. So constantly waking your car up all the time will contribute to vampire drain. If you're using any external apps that connect to your vehicle, Stats for Tesla, Teslafy.com, any of those third-party apps which monitor your car's performance, and hey, lots of us use them. I use them. I've used Teslafy forever. I know another guy that swears by Stats for Tesla. You can set those apps so that they don't wake your car up all the time. You can set how frequently they poll your car for information. The worst energy hog our vehicles have is Sentry mode. When you have Sentry mode on, you are burning 1% of your battery per hour of use. So if you imagine your car sitting for 24 hours in a parking lot somewhere with Sentry mode on, you're going to burn through 24% of your battery. That is very significant. So I always keep Sentry mode in my car. In the menu, I keep it set off. If I want to turn it on, I can turn it on by tapping on the screen. But by default, I don't want that going on automatically. So if I happen to be parking in, maybe a sketchy area and I'm a little worried about it, and I'm going to be there for an hour, fine, I'll turn Sentry mode on and walk away. But I certainly would not do that. I mean, where you're going to get into trouble is parking at an airport. Okay, you're going on a trip, you're parking your car, you think you're going to leave Sentry mode on at the airport parking lot, big mistake. Okay, as much as you might think that's protecting your vehicle, it's killing your battery. So be very careful with Sentry Mode. We're really hoping that's another thing that Tesla looks at where they can make that run more efficiently. Right now, when you put Sentry Mode on, every single camera is powered up in your vehicle. All your ultrasonic sensors are powered up in your vehicle. All of that comes alive. And every time somebody walks by your vehicle, it's popping on and taking video. Okay, so kind of an energy hog. Parking in a poor cell zone can contribute to vampire drain because your car is going to keep not really going to be able to get to sleep. It's going to keep going out there trying to connect to a cell network and not finding it. In the summertime, cabin overheat protection can contribute to vampire drain. Regardless, I would always leave that on. I mean, that doesn't kick on to 105 degrees on the internal cabin temperature. And I personally don't want the inside of my car over 105 anyway. So I would always leave cabin heat protection on, overheat protection on. Summon standby. This is a no-brainer. It takes energy to keep it in that mode. The only thing that summon standby buys you is when you pull out your app to summon your car, the vehicle will respond it will respond immediately if summon is in standby. If you have summon standby turned off, it'll take 10 seconds. I can live with the 10-second wait, not to be draining energy out of the battery for nothing. Again, cold outside temperatures will always contribute to vampire drain. And again, any aftermarket add-ons, if you happen to be anything that you got plugged in to your 12-volt outlet, that's all going to contribute to that. So, any questions on vampire drain? This is usually a biggie.
Hey John, question on the temperature. I know that that's a big thing. I've seen where people put space heaters in their garages at extreme temperatures. I go back and forth with that. I mean, I don't know if I'm really saving money by by using an electric space heater. Wow.
Jose, you live around here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you were in Alaska and it's 30 below, yeah, I'd throw a space heater out
Wisconsin, right?
or Wisconsin. You know, here in Pennsylvania, we don't get temperatures to that extreme. I don't see any reason for it. As long as your car is plugged in, and here's another reason for always having your vehicle plugged in, your battery management system is always going to maintain, you know, a minimum temperature on the battery anyway.
Got it.
And I always mention is you can mitigate all that drain as long as you turn off things you don't need while you're just sitting there idle. Well, we were like 20 degrees on average outside for a couple weeks. I drove maybe a couple times. I think I lost maybe a 1%, right? So, you know, you can mitigate the vampire drain as long as you don't leave your Sentry on when you're at home, that kind of stuff. So
it's summon, standby, and Sentry mode are the two biggies.
yeah, I thought there was a third one, but yeah.
And you can shut off. I think there's a setting to shut off Sentry mode when it detects to your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sentry mode is geo-tagged, where you know you can tell it not to go on at home, and quite frankly, in my mind, that's the one place where it doesn't matter because your car's plugged in. So yeah, you're going to drain it. So what? You're plugged in. Who cares? Yeah, the Sentry mode gets dangerous when you're out somewhere, your car's not plugged in, and you've left it on for some period of time.
So question, it's not unusual to walk in the garage and hear something running in the car. And when I first brought it home, the first week, I was freaking out, like ready to call Tesla. Something's wrong. So it usually sounds like it's in the passenger side front, between the frunk and the windshield, down in that area. What am I hearing?
What year is your car, Tom?
2020.
Model 3?
Yeah.
And when did you get it?
I bought November 1st, end of October.
Okay. Yeah, you're listening to circulating fans. You don't have a heat pump, right?
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I asked that. Because if you have the heat pump, you'll hear that, then that can get loud. But yeah, no, there's still circulating pumps, circulating fluid through your battery pack.
Okay.
And that's what you're hearing.
Yeah, it's just taking care of itself.
I'm sorry.
It's just taking care of itself. It's just making sure it's maintained.
But
My
that's
freak out-
also using power, obviously.
It is.
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
From-
but you want
from-
the health of your battery to be in good shape too. Right, that keeps everything, it keeps your value up, keeps your battery healthy.
Well,
And,
that's, if you think about it, Tom, that's why I said before, there's a normal amount of vampire drain that you're going to get regardless of what else you're doing. And that normal amount, if the car is asleep, is going to be around 1%. Or if the car is awake, 3 to 5%. And all that energy is basically going to maintaining your battery temperature.
Okay. Is there also a 12-volt battery in the vehicle?
Yes. As a matter of fact, what they've done now is they've actually gone to a lithium ion battery for
Right.
12 volt. But they're not getting rid of the 12 volt.
they're changing it as well, what I was,
Yeah, they're changing the battery. But
yeah.
In your frunk, underneath the cowl, there's a 12 volt battery in there, which basically powers your screens and monitors and the lights, directional signals, all that stuff gets powered off that 12 volt.
What's charging that? Is that also charging when you plug it in?
Yeah. What happens is the 12 volt, obviously you don't have an alternator in our cars. So what we have instead, we have a step down transformer out of the high voltage pack that,
Okay.
that trickle charges the 12 volt battery.
Got it. All right.
Okay, so when in doubt, remember your ABCs. Always be charging. Leave the car plugged in when possible. Keep the battery will just stay near its set limit. You can't overcharge it. There's nothing you can do bad for your battery by keeping it plugged in. And again, as I said before, if the car is not going to be used for more than 30 days, set your charge level of 50%. And what if you go on a trip and leave the car parked at the airport? Nothing wrong with doing that, but plan for your maximum vampire drain plus the range you're going to need to get in and out of the airport and get to a charging station if there's no charging station at the airport. Careful how often you monitor it with your app when you're away. And again, caution with those items that we talked about. If you can find a parking lot with a 110 volt plug available, that's all you need. If you could plug your car in a 110 and leave it there for a week, when you get back, you won't have lost anything. That will cover your vampire drain. If anything, you might gain a couple of miles. So you could always look for that kind of opportunity also. Now, if you notice this screen has not only scheduled departure, but it also has start charging at, which is what we talked about before, Tom.
Okay.
Okay, this is what the newest screen has. So this is how you can schedule your charging based on rates. So they added that feature on there now.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll talk about supercharging.
But before we go there, a quick question regarding the charge port, the door.
Uh-huh.
I went to local car wash where you get out, put your money in, you get a wand, and I start spraying, and the door, every time I hit it with the spray, the charge port door opens. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you do if you go into like a touchless car wash? Is there a way to lock that so it won't?
You can lock it when your car is locked, that port is locked.
Ah, okay.
So if you lock your vehicle, that won't open.
So if you're sitting in the car, as long as it's locked, then you're in a touchless car wash, it's not going to open. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. And the recommendation is be really careful with these touchless car washes.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Good. Glad you brought that up. Is that an issue to worry about? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what they're finding is that they're using such highly corrosive chemicals in those washers that they're having all kinds of effects, especially do you have your new Model 3, you have you have the chrome delete, right?
I'm sorry.
You have chrome delete, you're black around trim around the window.
No, it's chrome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's particularly worse with the chrome delete.
Okay.
They've actually in the Model Y and the new Model 3s where they don't use chrome, the corrosive chemicals that they're using in there are fading and staining the black trim around the windows.
Jeez.
Quite frankly, I've owned these cars for 6 years. I am a member of a car wash club. It's called Mr. Car Wash. They have one in York and they have one in Lancaster. And basically, it's a cloth car wash, but it's not touchless. So they've got hanging towel type heavy cloths that go back and forth and hit the vehicle and do that. I have done that for 6 years. I've never had a problem with my car from it, and it keeps the car clean. And in the wintertime, that's the only way I can keep my car clean. So if you've got time and and a place to do it, obviously, hand washing is the best. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
Okay, so supercharging etiquette, what does it really mean? First of all, be courteous, and you want to avoid idle charges. When your car is done charging, you get about 5 minutes to get it out of there. Don't leave your car sitting in there because it'll cost you money. Don't take 2 spots. Make sure you stay between the lines. Most superchargers have a pull-in spot where you can pull front into the supercharger. Don't use that unless it's the last spot available, because that's really reserved for vehicles that may have bike racks or maybe towing something. So reserve those pull-in spots for those vehicles. We need to be aware of shared power status at V2 superchargers. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. A V2 supercharger, and you can tell those because they max out at about 150 kW. And you'll note that when you look them up on your navigation screen. Those chargers actually share power between multiple stanchions. So what will happen is they'll all be numbered, and you're going to see numbers like these. This is 2A, 2B. You're going to see 1A, 1B, 3A, 3B. You don't want to, if a vehicle is charging on 2A, you don't want to go in, assuming that the supercharger is empty. You don't want to pull in on 2B and start charging right next to them, because you're going to split power between those 2 stanchions. So you basically, if they're on a number 2, you want to go to a different number. Go to a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you don't want to be on the charging on the same number as somebody else. Okay? Questions about that? Okay, that's obviously at a V2 station, and it's obviously if it's not packed. If it's the only spot left, you take it. This doesn't apply to urban superchargers, which around here you'll find in Philly, or the version 3 supercharger. The new V3 superchargers don't share power. And you can usually be able to tell because those stanchions won't be marked. You won't see any numbering on those stanchions. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about factors that affect our supercharging rate. So your battery state of charge is one of the primary factors that affect how we supercharge. You're going to get the highest rate when the state of charge of your battery is the lowest. And that charging rate is going to slow as the battery fills. So you want to plan your trips to do that efficiently. Efficiently. Charging rate gets slow when it's cold. So what we talked about before, charge when you arrive, not before you depart. And precondition your battery whenever you can, if you know you're going to a supercharger, by setting it as the destination in your nav system. That will warm your battery up and prepare it. So when you get there, it's going to be at the optimum temperature for supercharging. Questions about that? Okay. What does it cost to supercharge? Varies. The more important thing is idle fees. Idle fees, you've got roughly a 50% minimum. If the supercharger is completely occupied, they're going to charge you $1 a minute. I just saw a post not that long ago on a new Tesla owner that decided to park their car at a supercharger and go on vacation for a month. And needless to say, they came back, they literally had a bill over $70,000 for idle fees. I would bet that they'll negotiate something with Tesla over that because of their stupidity. But the reality is that superchargers are there to travel. They're not there to park. If you know you're gonna be charging for an hour because you go in and grab a bite, that's fine. Your phone is going to let you know when you're about 10 minutes away from your charge being complete. Quite frankly, what I do is, if I go into a restaurant and I'm supercharging and I'm eating my meal, and it comes up and tells me I have my charge set for 80%, and I get a message saying, "Hey, you're almost done," I'll kick it up to 90, buy a couple of minutes extra time just so I can, finish my meal, if it really comes down to it. But in general, you don't want to, especially if it's a full supercharger, I would never do that at a full supercharger. You absolutely don't want people sitting waiting in line while you're having your meal and your car's done. So that's just being cool. You certainly wouldn't want anybody to do it to you. You can look up any of the fees that you've been charged on your Tesla account online, and you'll get a whole history of your supercharging fees. Okay, destination charging. Again, as I said, charge upon arrival. These are high-powered wall connectors, just the same that Sham is putting in his house. And they're located generally at hotels. So if you go to a hotel that has a destination charger, plug in as soon as you get there, charge your car. When it's done, pop back outside, pull it out, let the next person use the charger. Any questions about that? Good. Then we'll go to the Tesla wrap-up music.
There's a lot more that you'll learn about your Tesla as you spend time with it. In fact, the learning never ends. Your car gets better with time as new and improved features are added via over-the-air software updates. To ensure that you get these updates, it's best for your car to be connected to Wi-Fi whenever it can be. To join a Wi-Fi network, tap the connectivity icon on the status bar, select the desired network, and join as you would with any other device. Your car will now automatically connect to this network whenever it's within range. When a software update is ready to install, a clock icon will appear on the status bar. Tap this icon to schedule installation. Your car isn't drivable while an update is installing, so it's often best to schedule it for while you're sleeping. When you wake up, you'll step into an even better and more capable Tesla, and you'll be greeted with release notes that walk you through what's new. You can always access the release notes from your most recent update in the software tab within the controls menu. Tap the Tesla T at the top of the screen. Here, you'll find the phone number for Tesla Roadside Assistance. You can simply tap it to call. It's a good idea to save this number in your phone. You can also request roadside assistance and view status updates on the Tesla app. We're here for you 24/7 if you're ever in need while out on the road. If you'd like to schedule a service appointment, you can do so right from the app as well. As a reminder, you can purchase upgrades for your car within the app too. Even more upgrades and accessories can be found on our website at shop.tesla.com. These and other instructional videos are available on your car's touchscreen whenever you'd like to brush up on your knowledge. Pull up the app launcher, select Entertainment, Theater, and then Tesla Tutorials. The detailed information in the owner's manual is always here on the touchscreen as well. It's even accessible with a voice command. Display owner's manual. The best way to learn is to start driving. Your Tesla is designed to be the safest, most convenient, and most fun car you've ever driven. Enjoy it. And thanks for accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
Okay, so you've got Tesla support available to you. Obviously, the Tesla forums and the owners clubs. I think everybody here is a member, right? Good. Okay, so I'm not going to do the pitch to join the club. You guys already know how great joining the club is, right?